stray. A simple world where love would bloom in every corner of the living room. Oh, the golden thread, it ties us tight through black and white into the light. A real love, it's always there. Classic moments beyond compare.
Welcome to The Golden Thread, where we revisit the shows that shaped us and trace the love that still lingers in every frame. I'm your host, Bob. Today, we open a thread that winds through self-worth, quiet vulnerability, and what it means to show up for those you love, even when they don't want you to. There's a special kind of heartbreak that can only happen between a parent and child. It happens quietly, when your child pulls away, when their face falls instead of lighting up when you enter a room, when they start to look at you through the eyes of the world instead of the eyes of love. That's where the Dick Van Dyke Show finds us in Father of the Week. Rob Petrie is excited. He's been chosen by his son's school to speak about what he does for a living as a TV comedy writer. He thinks it'll be a fun chance to connect with Richie's classmates, something to be proud of. But Richie isn't proud. He's mortified. At 6 years old, Richie doesn't yet understand what it means to be creative for a living. He just knows other kids' dads are firemen or construction workers or do things that sound tough, things that fit into childhood ideas of cool or brave. He worries his dad's job will make him a joke. And what's worse, he worries he will be a joke too. When Rob overhears Richie's private confession to a friend, "I wish I had a different father," his heart breaks. He doesn't yell, he doesn't storm out, he just quietly hurts. And then begins the long journey of emotional humility, that quiet surrender we call unconditional love. The golden thread here is not flashy. It doesn't arrive with music, swells, or a grand speech. It arrives in how Rob doesn't give up. He keeps trying to connect. He tells Richie that every job matters and that being a writer isn't shameful. He offers empathy, not anger. And when the day comes to speak at the school, he shows up anyway. Nervous, unsure of himself, carrying the fear that his son might still be ashamed. But he speaks. He jokes. He brings his typewriter, talks about creativity, and even types a silly sketch in real time for the kids. Richie, in the back of the classroom, watches with wide eyes, and something shifts. What he sees isn't embarrassment, it's effort. His dad trying, his dad sharing who he is, and Richie, so small in that classroom seat, becomes so much bigger in that moment. He smiles, he claps, he sees his father. That is the turning point of the story and of so many in real life. Because love doesn't always arrive when we want it to. Sometimes it doesn't even arrive with the words we long to hear. But it does arrive when someone shows up anyway. Father of the Week is funny. Yes, this is the Dick Van Dyke Show after all. But underneath the wit is a deep reminder. Sometimes what we fear most is not being enough in the eyes of those we love. Rob wasn't worried that his job was unimportant. He was worried it might not matter to his son. That maybe his love wouldn't be seen as love if it didn't come wrapped in the right uniform. But by being willing to feel that fear and still show up, he became more than Father of the Week. He became a father who models vulnerability, who loves without ego, who believes that honesty and presence are more impressive than swagger and cool. And Richie, he learned that courage doesn't always look like a uniform. Sometimes it looks like standing in front of a classroom telling jokes and hoping your kid claps at the end. There's always a thread beneath the surface, and in this episode, it's this. Love that doesn't demand applause is often the kind that changes us most. Rob Petrie loved his son even when his son didn't understand him. He showed up with humility, not pride. And in the end, that vulnerability taught Richie something even more powerful than a funny dad. It taught him what it means to be loved for who you are. That kind of love stays with you. That kind of thread, it never breaks. Thanks for joining me on this week's episode of The Golden Thread, guys. Next time, we'll follow another thread from the shows that shaped us. Until then, keep noticing the love that shows up quietly and never underestimate its strength. You all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next Monday. Bye.
Walking down the lanes of yesterday, where laughter echoes and hearts don't stray. A simple world where love would bloom in every corner of the living room. Oh, the golden thread.